Hello everyone and welcome to Zane's View. Now today we are going to be, hopefully, if this can even be loaded up on YouTube, I will be talking about the three major religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Now the backstory of this, let's get into it. If you didn't know this, whoever's watching this, Christianity and Islam are based off of the system of Judaism, sorry. That is the basis of it. Both religions are based off of it by at least the 10 first books of the Bible. What makes these other two religions different is that they're two prophets. Now, for Islam, it's Muhammad. Muhammad is the one who wrote the books afterward, after Moses wrote his books. For Christians, it's when Jesus was born, lived, and died, and when his apostles wrote the books after that. So, what I'm saying right now is going to be a clear view of what these religions reflect to one another and how they are right now in the current time of 2012. In the past, when it came to about the 9th or 10th century, I can't be exactly accurate. No, I'd say about near the 10th century, about 950 AD, was the first crusades. Now I might leave a wiki of the first crusades or the second one down there. I'm not sure. I may be doing a second video on this. But essentially, during the first crusades, when Christians were known as Anglo-Saxons, at this time, most of the Middle East was dominated by Islam. There were some Christians in that place, roughly, not many. Mostly was Judaism, or Jews were living in that area too. But most of it was dominated by Islam. And in Europe, in basically, you can talk about the UK, you can talk about Spain, you can talk about all those areas, Christianity was pretty much king. There was not much of any other religion at the time. What few that still existed were possible Druids or any other type of thing that were basically being squashed. But essentially, eventually Anglo-Saxon Christians went up against Islamic Muslims. And they clashed for at least about more than a few decades before the fighting was over. And from what I understand, it was possible that the Jews, I'm getting a little confused here. It wasn't possible that the Islamic Muslims won. I believe it was the Christians who won. In actuality, I believe from the first crusade into the next crusade, which is like about 100 or 200 years later, Christians pretty much won those fights. I'm not saying it's right, but essentially that is the backstory when it came to the two offsprings of Judaism. Now, if you're going to see how Judaism, Christianity, and Islam has evolved into today, I'm going to get into that. Now, this is the one I'm going to make as a disclaimer, saying simply, I don't know it all, and I'm sure you're going to put, whoever leaves a comment, hopefully anyone will make it more clear. But I'm giving a very decent view of what I've already experienced from knowing all three different religions by many different people. When it comes to now, when it comes to how the world perceives these religions, this is how it is. Roughly 75 to 85% of the known worlds that we exist in this planet we call Earth is dominated by Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Right now, Christianity is the strongest one, holding at least about 80%. Islam is basically second, and Judaism, or Judeo system, is, I think it's pretty much either tied with Islam or just a little bit behind it. I can't be exactly clear about this, but those are pretty much the positions they're in at this moment. Now, saying which one in this category of how people perceive them in how they're perceived by the world, in other words, for causing any type of disturbances, which can be fighting or missionary work or donating their time, like in missionaries, donating their time to other people, how they're treating different other religions. This is how it's going to be, and I won't say all because I'm sure I'm going to make another video about the perception of other religions compared to these three major ones, but I'm saying this. Currently, the ones who do the most missionary work that I see are Christians. Of all denominations, there are many different denominations of Christian. There is Protestant, there's Catholic, there's Baptist, there's Gospel, there's Seventh-day Evangelists. There's a lot of them. But Christians in all those different denominations, from what I see, do the most missionary work around the world. Not saying it's good or bad, it's just that's what it is. Islam, you could say, is a distant second, and then Judaism is in third place, or possibly in second as well. I know some people who are unorthodox Jews. I've known people who are Orthodox. They make it very clear that a lot of people go and they do not missionary work, but they do try to preach the Word of God. But they don't really push it onto people in that respect, because from the ones I've known, they'll teach you, but only if you understand clearly that this is the God you must really follow. Not saying the other two don't do that, but they don't really push it like the other two do. Now, when it comes to, how can I describe this? For Islam, for Muslims, it's different because of their culture and how they perceive the Quran. They combine their culture with their law and with their religion. And in that respect, when the Quran is written, it's very difficult to say how they basically try to teach others and convert them, because it's such a large chunk of their society that gets molded from that, because there are, in some cases, their religion drives their society and their laws. And law and society can go hand in hand. And I've heard some cases where people who live in a Muslim society, it could be like Afghanistan, it could be like Libya. If someone breaks the law, they're extremely harsh in some cases. Can kill you, they can stone you, they can cut off limbs. I'm not saying, and I'm saying this clearly, I'm not bashing Islam, like I'm not bashing Christianity or Judaism. I'm just saying what in the last maybe 100, 200 years that people from around the world knows about it. Christianity, out of those two, they kind of have a balance of both in a sense. I'm not saying it's better. No. Christianity has its points. And to be honest, excuse me, when it comes to Christians, they have a tendency to be the most to try and convert you and push the hardest. In their perspective, they want to teach you and love you. When it comes to Muslims and Islam, they may say the same thing, but they do combine some of their society into it. And when it comes to their Quran, they combine their society so much with their law, because law and, like I said, law and society go hand in hand. It's very difficult for them to bring people in, not realizing how much trouble they can have sometimes. So that's how it really goes in that respect, where it sounds like Christians have it really good. They have more better following, they do more things. Yes, they do, but it doesn't mean they're better. As I want to explain, all three religions have some good qualities in each. I'm not going to express them all because, like I said, I don't know it all. But from what I've been able to understand from the people I know who are my friends and stuff, each one of them has their good points. For Islam, they're very into teaching, very into it. Not just making sure you understand the Quran very well, yes, but understanding your culture. They really really want to teach you how to be able to understand your culture. Like in most Muslim countries, like the Emirates or Saudi Arabia, they're very culture driven. They used to be very tribal driven, so their culture is still based that way. When it comes to Judaism or Judeo system, they also do the same thing, but comparing them is a little different, because I find that Jews are very wonderful people. I have great friends who come from Israel. They're friends here in New York and the United States, but essentially they're very, very close-knit. They really stay very quiet, and this is what I'm going to say after I explain about Christians. But they're extremely quiet people. And when it comes to Muslims and Islam, they can be very loud. Now when it comes to Christians, I've known Christians can be loud, yes. But in some cases, they're in between both religions. Like I said, Christianity is kind of like a balance between them both, and I'm not saying they're better. I'm not. And here's an example. At this moment in time in 2012, and it is August, many people have already known about terrorism around the world. When it comes to Afghanistan, when it comes to Pakistan, when it comes to Iraq, you know that people who have followed the Islamic system, the religion, have problems. There's always some type of flack. And that's not on the entire religion. There are some that are just at the edges of it. Just like I said when it came to the crusades, the first and second one. As far as I can tell, both religions are relatives of one another. They're basically brothers or sisters, what you want to call it. But there's always some fringe on both sides that always stir up a mess inside the main religions, those two religions, and have them conflict between one another. Now, right now, Islam has the problems with their outer fringe sections, especially when it comes like to India, when it comes to certain sections like Bombay. Particularly that when it comes to the Hindus and Muslims, there is severe fighting there. In most cases, it's not always about the Hindus, it's about the Muslims and the ones who follow Islam. Now, they're the ones I see so far that's causing the most noise right now in 2012. The one who's the most quiet right now are the Jews. Anyone who's Jewish, who follows Judeo system, who converts into Judaism, they are very quiet. They don't try to cause too much trouble. They don't try to convert many people, at least from what I understand. They're basically extremely quiet. They take only a certain type of people at a certain amount. That's how I see it right now with them. When it comes to Christians, they're in between. Christians can be loud as people who follow Islam and can be just as dangerous. Or they can be nearly as quiet as someone who's Jewish or follows the Judeo system, who follows Judaism. They have a very funny balance. They stay in between, but it doesn't mean it's a better system, a better religion. Each one of them has their best points, but honestly, if I had to follow it, and I was born into it, I grew up in it, but I'm not Christian. I'm not Jewish, following Judeo system. I'm not Muslim. I follow a completely different belief. I follow Native American faith. And this gives me at least a better perspective to see all three religions. And this is what I came up with all three religions. All of them are good religions, but there's no better one. The one that is the most profound right now, who's the most seen on the media and the people, is Islam. The one who's the most quiet, the most subdued, is Judaism. And the one that's in between, that's right now known, is Christianity. And I believe that's how it is right now. There is no better religion. It counts on you and what you believe to follow. What makes a religion is what is taught by you, by whatever God you follow. If it's the same God from those three or it's a different one, whatever that God teaches you is what makes the religion. It's not that it's the existence of that God, it's the teachings of that God. So that's my view of the three main religions. Now I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to see if I can do a second video on the perspective of someone who's not of those three, who's of a more minor religion. That's me. And I hope you'll like that when I do it. So I hope you like this video. Subscribe up above. Comment down below. I really hope you have a good day. Take care.